This video is proudly sponsored by DigimonCard.io for all your Digimon card, deck building, deck list, card pricing, and discussion needs. Hey everyone, Egman here with another video, and today we're going to talk about the promo MetalGarurumon that comes out with BT4 next month as a promo for it. And it's really a cool card, and we're going to talk about itself, cards that work with it, and also an example deck list at the end that I've been testing with. I think the deck list for this is going to have to be very tight, and just based on a lot of feedback and trying out ratios and everything else, but I think this is a very viable card and has a lot of cool things going for it. So let's start talking about the card itself. It is a main Digiburst for 2. Use a purple option card with a memory cost of 7 or less in your hand without paying its memory cost, which is super duper good at playing. Like, purple has some of the best option cards in the game, and so being able to play just even playing 1 for technically free is super duper good, but we can also do up to 2 for free with it. Since it's Digiburst for 2, it's not a once per turn, and it's main timing. You can do both of them at the same time, so if you have 2 option cards you want to play, you can definitely do them right after the other, and that feels very good for this list. So I think it's a really cool idea for what it's doing, and so let's look at the cards that can really take advantage of this. So the purple options that we have, the first one that comes to mind for me is Nailbone, which comes out in the new star deck that also comes out for this set. It's main, you may play 1 purple level 3 Digimon and 1 purple level 4 Digimon from your trash without paying their memory cost. Any on-play effects on the Digimon played with this effect do not activate. So being able to just play 2 dudes for essentially free is very, very good. And even just looking at the Digiburst, right? So even if you just go into this, turbo into this at the beginning of the game, if you only have if your trash is empty, you can still just Digiburst a level 3 and a level 4, and to pay the cost to play this thing, and then you can get them back out for free. So Nailbone is really viable with this. It's super good. Also, its security effect is just a better Night Raid. You may play 1 purple level 4 or lower Digimon from your trash without paying its memory cost. So it's just super good at doing that, and I think it's a good card for it. And then we also have Trump Sword, so it's just, it's Gaia Force for things that are unsuspended. Very nice, and can, be a good removal card on top of it. So I think Trump Sword is a very good idea for this as well. Also, it's a really good security card a lot of the time as well. And then some other cards I think that are somewhat worth it, and if you want to go for it, Heat Viper, being able just to delete one of your level delete one of your Digimon, delete 2 of your opponent's level 4 or lower, can be a really huge swing, especially if you do Nailbone, get 2 guys out, and then you Heat Viper to delete one of your dudes that you just brought out to delete 2 of your opponent's dudes. That can be very, very helpful there. And then we also have Necrophobia, which play 1 level 5 purple Digimon from your trash without paying its memory cost. I'd say this one is a little bit trickier to get out successfully as Nailbone, since it's only 1 level 5, and level 5 is kind of hard to get to your trash without using any setup for it. So it's pretty, but Necrophobia also has a really good security effect at displaying from your trash as well. I think the only thing that's kind of holding this card back is that there's nothing that's really worth getting the level 5 out. Sure, you can go into your level 6s, but also to do your Digiburst, you have to have 2 cards underneath it as well. So there's just some kind of awkwardness with this card in my mind. I think it can work, but you do need a little bit of setup to do it. And then it's also Hell's Gate, which is a main, delete one of your opponent's level 6 or higher Digimon. So that's pretty good. If the security, add this card to its inner hand, I feel like that's kind of bad for it, though. I feel like being able to play this off of it would have been a lot better. But it's a weird cost kind of thing for it. It's an okay card, but it's not fantastic in my mind, right? It's very reactive, and you want to be able to be on the offense, I feel like, when you're playing these cards. And Trump Sword's kind of in the same boat, but it can kind of get rid of more things. So that's kind of how I feel about these purple option cards. There's other purple option cards, obviously, but these are the ones I really like for it. And the other ones are usually 0, 1, or 2 costs, and I think that's not really what you really want to do with the MetalGarurumon's effect. So going from there, we have our rookies that I think are viable. I think Decklist is very good, also from the starter deck. You may turn 1 purple option card with a memory cost of 1 or 7 from your trash to your hand, so you can just, play Decklist to get, your Trump Sword back, your Nailbone back, so you can play it next turn, which I think is cool. Tapermon is always really good, and it's great, since it's on deletion for its effect, it's very good for getting out with Nailbone. I think is one of the best targets for it that exist right now. There's also Gazimon as well. Your opponent can't gain memory except for Tamer effects, so I think that can be very helpful. Impmon, being able to trash the top 3 cards of your deck when it's the lead, can be good for filling your drop area or your trash. And then there's also the promo Devimon as well. If you have 7 or more Digimon cards with Devimon in their name in your trash, you may play one Dan Devimon for your trash without paying its memory cost. So I think this is a cool card to bring out a lot, and we'll kind of talk about this guy a little bit more down the way, but I think this is also a promo that comes out with us, and that's that the Japanese meta did not have with BT4, so it is different than what their meta can be facing, and I think this can be very synergetic with what the deck is trying to do anyways. But that's kind of just my opinion there. There's also the rookie that can Digiburst back to your hand. When it gets Digiburst, it goes back to your hand. But I feel like that doesn't synergize super well with purple and normally what you're trying to do. Especially if you're trying to Nailbone. On the first one, you try to do the Digiburst. It just goes to your hand instead of the trash, so you can't get it back with Nailbone. And I just feel that's too counterintuitive for what you're trying to do with this deck. So I didn't include that guy. If you want to run it, go for it. But I think there's just better options for it than it. So going from there, champions, I think these are just universally the 3 best champions you can get from Nailbone, because they're all blockers are already good, right? And purple has 2 champion blockers now thanks to the starter deck. This Devimon blocker, and then also we have Vilemon from set 2, which is really good. Also, just this Devimon that has retaliation can gain a whole bunch of value for the deck as well. And as you can kind of see, if 2 of the cards are already Devimon, it makes really sense to make this Devimon kind of work with it. In my opinion, I think there's just that synergy there already. But I think these are the 3 best ones for the champion slot, not only just because they're cost effective, not just because they're blocker, not because, Devimon is also very good. The retaliation one for being, you can even just do easy turn 1 or 2, you just go into Devimon, swing into something, have them both pop, and then you can just immediately Nailbone to get Devimon back and the rookie underneath it. So I think there's some cool synergies with that as well. So they're just, all these cards I think are just the best in slot for a deck like this, and it's that's my opinion on there. Next up for ultimates, I would say ultimates are the rough spot for this deck, and in purple in general, there aren't really any super showstopper ones for at least digivolving and kind of going through there. So that's why I have 2 of the vanillas. If you just want to go through these as quick as possible, I think these are good for there. It's also kind of weird too, because you don't want to hard cast any of these champions, because you can't, you can digivolve on top of MetalGarurumon, but you won't have enough underneath it to digiburst at all. So you kind of rookie or champions are really where you want to hard cast anything, and that's also why I just feel like there's some Necrophobia doesn't have a lot of synergy with the deck, just because the level 5 doesn't really go anything, it's except for just being a real big body. But I do like Lady Devimon for some I think Lady Devimon also kind of has some synergy issues, because if you want to make sure you get your MetalGarurumon safe and have Digiburst active, you want to Digivolve all the way through your raising area, right? And so Lady Devimon is a temptation to bring it out and then do Digivolving on in the main area, just so you get your draw 2 trash 2. Being able to draw 2 trash 2 is really good too, and also it does have Devimon in its name, so if you want to be able to you use your Devimon as well. I think there's some possibilities with that as well. Also, as your turn, once per turn is inheritable when you use an option card to delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. So if you do go up into your big dude and then have this underneath it, you are able to get your an additional pop, as long as you don't trash this as your first one. And I think that can be very helpful as well. So I think these are the best ones here. I think Chimeramon is something that you can consider as well. But that's just hard removal, and you really don't want to, Chimeramon into MetalGarurumon doesn't really do anything. It just kind of feels kind of bad. And then we'll go into our megas, and this is kind of what I think purple's issue is in general right now. Purple has a lot of really, really good megas, but the things leading, the middle range to get to them is kind of hard to do, right? It's kind of hard to find the energy or the memory to get into it. And if you get 2 of these megas out, a lot of these megas synergize really, really well with each other, but getting both of them out at the same time is a very almost impossible feat in my mind. So that's kind of what I think is holding it back. But you guys can really choose the ones you like the most. I'd say you want to definitely run 4 of your MetalGarurumon Promo, and then anywhere between 2 to 4 of any of these guys as you see fit. Millenniumon is obviously a good extension just because you can Digivolve it on top of your MetalGarurumon after you use its Digiburst effects, and you can go from there. And it's removal, and it's it's a sticky guy to get rid of, and he's very good at doing that. Lilithmon is really nice because it has a when Digivolving effect, which purple doesn't have a lot of, honestly. But if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, you may turn up to 2 purple option cards with, from your trash to your hand, which can be helpful for recycling your stuff. And then once per turn, when you use an option card, you gain 2 memory, so your nail bones become 5 memory, which is not too bad. Piedmon can be really good just hard casting this, and then you can get your 2 blockers out anyways, because if you're running all these blockers in the first place, Piedmon with 2 blockers is probably one of the best ways to get this guy out pretty cheaply, which is nice. Garurumon is from the starter deck. It has Security Attack +1. It's a Digiburst as well, so you play 1 level 3 Digimon from your trash without paying its memory cost. And unlike most of the cards that bring stuff back, you do get its on-play effect, which is really nice. We have Dan Devimon, so obviously if you're playing the Devimon stuff, you want to play Dan Devimon in there as well. Anubismon is pretty cool. So when Digivolving, you play 1 level 3 Digimon from your trash without paying its memory cost, which also gets its on-play effect if you do it this way. And when you play Digimon from your trash, that Digimon gains Rush for the turn. So there can be some really cool, one-turn kills where, Anubismon and Nailbone on the same turn lets you go out and, play 2 dudes for free. And then you're able to play them. They have Rush, so they can swing on the same turn, which can kind of be cool. I feel like it's very costly and heavy to do that. I feel like you'd have to be winning anyways for that, but that is a really cool combo in my mind. Bezelmon kind of makes sense if you're able to bring your Impmons back really easily. You can do Bezelmon, and then you can do MetalGarurumon for free, free effect and Nailbone to get a Bezel or to get an Impmon out for free. Digivolve into Bezelmon to pop something. So it's a really cool memory swing of just having you now have 2 Ultimates out, Megas out, so that can be really cool. And he's just a generically good one of those as well. And there's also Plutomon. Plutomon's really, really tempting. I don't know. He's close. If you're playing if you really want to play Necrophobia, if you really like this card, I think Plutomon is the way to go, because when Digivolving trigger draw 2, then you may use a purple option card with a memory cost of 6 or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. I almost wish he let you draw 2, discard 1, just to make sure you can get a level 5 into your drop area, because then you can use Plutomon and you get a level 5 out, and then you get a Myotismon out or something. I mean, that feels kind of good, but since the really good ones are 7, you don't really get the effects for it, so that kind of sucks from my mind. So there's just all these are viable in their own special way. I don't know it's the best one, and there's no clear cut. You kind of have to figure out which ones you like the most and you feel consistent with. But I think this is where there's a lot of customability for the deck in general. And lastly, the Tamers. Purple has 2 good ones. I think Matt is probably the one you still want to just do as many as you want, just because it's a 3 Tamer, and then also you can return 1 purple Digimon or purple option cards from your trash in your hand, so you're able to recycle your nail bones, your trump swords, whatever you need to do from there. Feels kind of good. The only thing bad with him is that he sucks to play turn 1 because you don't get any bonuses from him, but he's okay. And then also Mimi. All turns when your player uses an option card, you may suspend this tamer to gain 1 memory. So she gains a bunch of memory back really easily. And so if you want to just have a cheap way, she's really good turn 1 because she almost always gets her 2 memory back. Just because you're playing a bunch of option cards in this deck. Obviously if you're playing Jack Raid, which I don't think is super good in this deck, but Jack Raid just helps, Mimi just gains a bunch of memory for free, which feels really good. But I think she's worth consideration since we are playing option cards. And once again, if you do MetalGarurumon and you play the card for free, you still play the option card, so you still gain the memory as if you suspend it, which is kind of nice. So those are those, and then let's jump into the deck list. So here's the deck list I have prepared for you guys. It's kind of a split between the MetalGarurumon and also the Devimon, the new promo, just because I feel like there's just so much synergy with it anyways, and it just makes sense from kind of deck building. You already want to play as many of these Devimons for champions as well, and it's easy to put just the rookies in there too, and Lady Devimon helps you filter and find your stuff too, because you always want to find with these guys, being able to just draw 2, discard 2 is super powerful in a deck where you can really just find a lot of nothing sometimes. So being able to have that recycling, I think, is good. And we're also, for our eggs, we're running Demi-Marimon, just being able to draw 1, discard 1 feels good. And then also Pokemon for our 5th one, just being able to trash 2 cards to get more cards in there. Our rookies, we're running 4 Tapermon. We're also running 4 with the new promo, just because we want to be able to see it. 3 of the Dracomon, just because being able to recycle our 7-drop option cards is good. And then also just 3 of the Devimon just for a vanilla, and also since it has Devimon in its name, it helps us out. Once again, for our champions, 4 of the Devimons here, 4 of the blockers, and 3 Vilemons just to have more blockers available to us. Then we also have, for our level 5s, we have 3 Myotismon and 4 of the Lady Devimon. I feel like I'm still testing this one out, just because Lady Devimon, once again, you want to take it out of your raising area, you play it to draw 2, discard 2, but then if they pop it with something, then you have to kind of restart your chain, which feels bad, but it also kind of gets you some resources, and then like, if you like, the worst thing is that you just get more cards that Devimon into your drop area, so you're able to kind of go into your dude a little bit more easily as well. But we're also running 4 MetalGarurumon, because obviously this is kind of the pivot of the deck, so we want to make sure we have max chances to get them. We also have 2 Dan Devimon. You can maybe bump them up to 3. I haven't found a lot of consistency issues with just 2 in the deck, but he's kind of nice. You know, when a card is removed from your security stack, trash a card from your opponent's security stack, so that kind of is a cool effect. And on delete, your opponent trashes 2 cards from their hands as well. So I feel like all this is really, really cool going forward, especially because, you know, you can crash this into something, and then it's really easy to get Devimon back out and then put something on top of it, especially a blocker, and then you get your Dan Devimon out again. So I feel like that's a kind of cool loop for this deck as well. And also just 2 Millenniumons just to have like a big win condition, kind of have some board removal that isn't Trump Sword, and then just, you know, be able to survive for a bit as well. So I think this is cool too. The list is kind of tight for what it is. If you want more Millenniumons, you can. If you want more Dan Devimons, you can. Maybe take out a Matt. I felt like 3 was maybe a little bit too much for what it was, but he is really good at times, so it's really hard to justify. In general, I feel like this list is a good start for what it's doing. Maybe having both engines in here is maybe a little bit too tight, and I can understand that, but I feel like there's some good tinkering, there's some good combos with this deck. And in general, I think that MetalGarurumon, the lists that work with it are going to be really particular on what your ratios are, and it's going to take some, you know, practice and some games to test that out, but I think this is a real good start for people who are interested in that. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think of this deck list. Let me know what other cards you want me to build around and other deck lists you want to see in the future, and I'll catch you all next time.